Hello and welcome to the L15weekly podcast. It is episode 11 now, and yet again, even though there's no football, we're still bringing you the latest news, views and opinions from the football world. Now, I'm going to be completely plain with you. I had a top 10 championship heroes of the season so far. That file became corrupted on my computer, disappeared, and I'm no longer going to be able to bring you that on the normal time slot of Friday nights. But I'm going to try my best now to give you some coronavirus football things, almost be a bit of a news reader for you for a little bit. Hopefully I can help you with getting to grips of what might be happening in the football world. And I'll try and get that 10 heroes of the season so far to you at some point in the near future, hopefully before football returns. So English football is heading towards its third weekend without games, and with no end in the sight to lockdown, the first cracks are beginning to appear in this professional game. Premier League clubs are due to meet again on April 3rd, where it's almost certain that there's going to be more postponement of Premier League games. This will take it past the end of the official league season, and the last round of Premier League fixtures, which was supposed to be on the 17th of May. So we're going to be playing on past the end of the season. Obviously, there's no Euro 2021. That is 2020. Sorry, that is in 2021, and that is a bit of a shame. But it's the sort of thing you have to be done. The Premier League officials are heavily involved in discussions with UEFA, European leagues, and clubs about how the game deals with the coronavirus. So there is no obligation on them to take the same course as any other league. So whatever one league does, another league doesn't particularly have to follow. If Serie A was abandoned or La Liga was abandoned, the Premier League wouldn't have to follow suit. So what the Premier League is reliant on is the goodwill of broadcasters and sponsors. The longer it goes without matches being played, the less practical it becomes to pick up where the season was left off. Playing beyond June the 30th is a headache for Liverpool, Newcastle and Watford, because they are changing shirt manufacturers, but clubs who are changing sponsors also have a problem. Deals almost always start in July, with the massive marketing campaigns being done around them. Finishing the season at all costs is a laudable ambition, but and may yet come to pass, but it has immense complications. There is an unease among some of the speed of club executives have started to talk about the game being played again. People said privately football might help cheer the country up, but with the risk of literally hundreds of £1 million, the consensus for now remains to look for the finishing line, to help reduce that loss of money. And there is no wage deferral agreement in the Championship. The idea involves capping salaries at £6,000 a week for 4 months, which was put forward in a conference call between the 24 Championship clubs. However, it is understood there was no agreement, with some clubs questioning why they should have to effectively default on contracts when they have no immediate financial need, given the current coronavirus shutdown has only lasted 3-match round, covering at the most 2 home games. Championship leaders Leeds have followed Birmingham in confirming wage deferrals have been agreed with their squad, so their wages have gone down a bit. In an effort to save a bit of money during this time. People with Birmingham, they've been sometimes in a bit of financial trouble, so it's good to see that. Leeds, obviously they've got quite a few high wage players, so they need to buckle those wages down. But the EFL have been made aware, both verbally and in writing, about a number of concerns relating to the particular wage deferral debate. In particular, it's been asked when the deferred wages will be paid, whether this will be done in one lump sum, where the funding will come from, and what for that to be done. In addition, the EFL have been asked about what happens with respect to players who are out of contract on 30th of June. Crucially, the EFL is also being asked whether clubs who have deferred wages will still be allowed to sign new players in the summer, thereby adding to a wage bill they have not been able to meet. Some clubs have been unhappy for a while now about the apparent flouting of financial fair play rules. I believe there's now a call being made for league-wide solution that's not affecting every club, and questions are being asked about why clubs who are presently able and willing to meet their commitments should effectively risk being penalised. So there's a lot of uncertainty, really. EFL of the players and everybody. The EFL are in limbo at the moment. The EFL have instructed clubs not to do any kind of training activity until 14th of April at the earliest. Premier League clubs have either put players on individual programs or used video conferencing apps to bring a collective approach to the work they can do. Some have let players return to their home countries, others have not. Clubs with foresight have let players take gym equipment home from the training ground. To an extent, team meetings can still take place to talk about team shape or tactics. There is no work being done on the grass. No actual opponents planned for, I suppose. As Brighton boss Graham Potter said, I can do my job, just not the job I'm supposed to be doing. But as we went through, Belarus still carrying on as normal. The new season started in Belarus last weekend, as we talked about last week, and their head of football association, that it was the same. And non-league clubs there have cancelled their season as well. All football in England below the 3 National League divisions was ended on Thursday, as the Football Association confirmed results would be expunged, with promotion and relegation scrapped. So apparently they heard about this on social media, so there was no direct direct link between the FA and these conference clubs. They just said, well, that's it, it's over. So let's just think about a club that I'm looking at the moment, South Shields. They were 12 points clear at the top of the Northern Premier League with 9 games to play, but they'll now miss out on playing in the National League North next season. There hasn't been any dialogue, the manager Thompson has said. We got to hear of this decision by social media. There was no formal communication from our league nor through the FA itself. Thompson also confirmed the club are considering legal action and have also been in discussions with other clubs in similar predicaments. Realistically, it's highly unlikely they're going to overturn the decision, but the reality of football will return, and I don't think this is a decision that should have been rushed. So a lot of money has been lost by this coronavirus, especially in the lower tiers. We talked about that last week, and how people have just been, struggling to keep gate receipts because they've got no gate receipts coming in. They're struggling to keep that financial flow going, which is a real shame. It's one of the worst feelings that people have in football, really. It's no football whatsoever. It's a lot of upset being caused by this coronavirus. Barcelona have even been forced into giving stars 50% wage cut after the squad refused 70% demands over coronavirus. So it's a shame people have to cut wages, because obviously footballers, they may have a lot of money, but some footballers, lower down the pyramid, if their wages are to be cut, they're going to have to really make ends meet. They're going to struggle to make ends meet, with the money that comes in. And so let's talk about some of the footballers. So let's talk about Callum Hudson-Odoi. He's fully recovered from coronavirus, says Blues manager Frank Lampard. The England international became the first Premier League player to test positive for COVID-19 earlier this month. And he said he's fine. He's come through and he's okay. So that's okay. Callum Hudson-Odoi is all better. Glad to hear that. Let's have a look at Mikel Arteta. He has also recovered from COVID-19. He isolated himself from the rest of the family. He had a lot of chest pain, had a dry cough. He's since recovered from COVID-19 and has detailed the way he set up a room and bathroom while self-isolating. Oh right, okay, that's interesting. So he's managed to recover, so that's really good to see. And people have been saying about the Atalanta's game with Valencia 2 days before the case of the locally transmitted COVID-19 was confirmed in Italy. A football match played last month was a biological bomb that may have helped cause Bergamo in northern Italy to become the epicentre of coronavirus pandemic, experts have said. So that 44,000 fans were there, and apparently nobody really knew what coronavirus was, and it was just going around, and lots of people were infected by that, and people were struggling. 40,000 people hugging and kissing each other while standing a centimetre apart 4 times, because Atlanta scored 4 goals, was, a real huge accelerator for it. And that's a real shame. In Italy, let's have a look at the figures from around the world, and see how this coronavirus is affecting people around the world. Obviously, this is a football podcast, but we have to focus on things that are real. We have to focus on things that are happening. So around the world, there are 584,110 coronavirus cases. So far, there have been 26,826 deaths and 131,000 recoveries. So the most cases in the world is USA with 96,000. Italy have 86,000. China have 81,000. So China really with only 5 new deaths. UK with only 181 deaths. Italy with a world high of 919 deaths. The country with the least amount is Timor-Leste, Libya, Papua New Guinea, and St Vincent and Grenadines with the least amount of coronavirus cases. I'd personally like to thank you for joining me for this episode of L15 Weekly. Obviously, incredibly sorry about the state of the EFL thing. I did really want to get that out to you, but unfortunately, due to unforeseen circumstances, we're not going to be able to do that. Obviously, I recommend you still take government advice. You do all the necessary things. Obviously, Boris Johnson has coronavirus now, so it's unlikely that he's going to be the face of things at the moment. But obviously support the NHS, as it was wonderful to see last night. Everybody in my street was clapping and everything, and that's really good to see. So what you need to do about the coronavirus, I'm going to do that again. Only go outside for food, health reasons, or work, but only if you cannot work from home. Stay 6 feet, 2 meters apart from other people, and wash your hands as soon as you get home. So stay at home, protect the NHS, and save lives. Thank you very much for listening to the L15 Weekly podcast, and I'll see you next week. Goodbye.